story that has been taking place and trend all across the world, protesting Black Lives Matter, and the ability to relate that to the British Virgin Islands. Joining me today is a local entrepreneur, Miss Amberly Crabb, who is spearheading this movement locally along with raising awareness and building much needed conversation. We join and we talk police brutality, racism, and how important that is for us to change the narrative as we approach this very difficult issue. We'll hear much more from her during this conversation right after a word from our sponsors. Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works. Viewers, welcome back. You're watching 284 Media. Amberly, good morning and welcome to 284 Media. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning and thank you for having me, Ron.
Absolutely. Now, a major conversation, as tough and devastating as it is all across the world, persons are protesting for a very worthy cause. We all know it, Black Lives Matter, and you are doing something very creative and interesting here in the Virgin Islands to not only raise awareness, but raising funds. Tell us about it.
Hi, yes. So, with the death of George Floyd that sparked major protest across America initially, before spreading across the world, Ron, I could not help but be moved to do something here in the British Virgin Islands to show our solidarity and stand with our fellow brothers and sisters in America as they face this defining moment in their history, in their country. We travel to America. We have friends and family who live in America. Some of us, we do business in America. Some of us are citizens. We have children who are citizens. And if we fall in any of those categories, we are indeed affected by this movement. We are affected by the injustice that has been happening for centuries in America when it comes to Black lives. And I think it will be remiss of me not to stand up, not to rally persons who stand in support of change for our people, for equality on all ends, all corners, if I don't rally the masses to do something and show that we are in support, because whether we acknowledge it or not, we are indeed affected.
Absolutely. Now, Amberly, you have persons regionally who would say, this is none of our business, why are we talking about it? They would even ask why we protesting. Tell us and reiterate for us exactly why this is not only a U.S. problem, but a global problem.
As I mentioned, Ron, we travel to America. In recent weeks, initiating conversations with some of my friends who are not American citizens, but travel for leisure to America, we all have stories of being stopped. We all have stories of being racially profiled. We all have very scary stories and incidents. I have friends who, you know, they're staying with family, they're throwing out their trash, they have been picked up in the middle of the night for throwing out their trash in communities, taken to persons' homes to be identified as people who are robbing the neighborhoods. So we are indeed affected, whether we acknowledge it or not. It's only a matter of time when we might fall victim to, you know, such injustice. And unless we work to eradicate it and get rid of it, we will forever be on edge.
Indeed.
Even for me as a business person, I can recall one story. I never shared this publicly, but I've been in business for about a little over 10 years. And when I started to travel initially to trade shows and stuff, I would never let myself be known when I go to different booths, because at the time I was really and truly, when I started, the only minority business person attending some of these events.
Wow.
So I would just walk around like I'm viewing, I'll see what I want. And when I get back home, I would have companies say, oh, were you to the show? You didn't stop by. Why didn't you stop by? And I was always skeptical because, of course, I was educated in America. I went to Howard University. I understand racial injustice. I understand what is happening right now. So I was always skeptical of letting them know, okay, I am the Amberly or the person behind this business. And eventually I had one of my suppliers, he kept insisting, kept inviting me to come to the States to visit their warehouse. And I said, you know what, I'll set an appointment with him. And I did. And Ron, it was so uncomfortable. Wow. I showed up, I was there standing for times, waiting, and they were walking all around me. Where's Amberly? Where's Amberly? I said before, I'm Amberly. And he did not know how to react. Wow. He paced around the chair. He was sitting on the top of the chair with his feet in the spot that you should sit. He was getting up. It was like very uncomfortable. And at the time, my aunt was with me and she looked at me and she said, this is what you deal with to be in business? We don't do this where we're from. Let's go. And I said, no, but you know, we exist but in a bubble, but this is what our fellow American brothers and sisters have to deal with. So we just have to know how to cope until there comes a time when we don't have to do this anymore. Yeah. We don't have to hide behind names that don't appear as African or black names.
Well, it's interesting that you shared that story. I want to thank you very much, Amberly, for sharing that very personal story. And speaking of names, I'll give you a personal story myself. Growing up, I never quite liked my name. I always thought it was boring. I thought it was just blah. And to be honest with you, in moving to California and going to college, it was quite interesting to me the power that my name held, because in applying for jobs or setting up appointments, you can't tell my race by looking at my name, Ron Grant. It's pretty straightforward. And that simple realization helped me to understand exactly the magnitude of the problem that we continue to face as black African Americans and black people in general. For someone to be able to now be interested in meeting with me just by looking at my name and also my speech, they would never be able to tell the race by speaking to me. So I think that's very interesting, and again, I want to thank you for that. Now, let's get to the heat of the matter. Here in the BVI, you're doing something very remarkable. Both of you and I are wearing some shirts. Tell us about the shirts. I know you're in partnership with Nova Vita and Crazy Threads, building and raising awareness as well as raising funds. Tell us about the project.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to say a heartfelt thank you. I am anyone who knows Amberly, you know, when it comes to social injustice, I have a very, very low tolerance. So when the protests began to happen and I felt moved to do something, I reached out to Nova Vita Apparels. Most people might know, okay, KJ, and Crazy Threads, Mr. Khalid Fret. And I told them of an idea that came to me. I said, you know, we're in the midst of a global pandemic. We're into our hurricane season here in the BVI. Persons might be a bit reserved where their, you know, spare capital, their spare cash is concerned and stuff. But I still want to do something. What is your idea on us printing some shirts? Y'all are in the t-shirt business. It's not a field I venture into, but there's a powerful message that we can get across by it. And let's print some shirts, put some messaging on these shirts. And if you're willing to work with me on bare cost of the shirts, then all other proceeds we will donate directly to, we've chose a foundation, Colin Kaepernick's foundation. Great. The Know Your Rights Camp. They started a legal defense arm initiative, and what they're doing is they're posting, initially it started just in Minneapolis, where they were posting bail, cash bail to those persons who could not afford the bail. But now they've announced over the weekend that it has spread across the country. So we will be turning the donations over to that organization. And I've reached out to them, I've sent them a letter. While we haven't received a response as yet, they are encouraging persons to use their web portal, which is very easy for you to donate the funds through. Okay. It asks information so they would know where it's coming from and so forth. So that is what we intend to do. And we're asking persons, go out, you don't have to contact me. You can go directly to Crazy Threads up in Fish Bay. You can go to Nova Vita right here at the Kwasiski building in Rowtown. and you can purchase shirts. There are 6 designs. You can choose the messaging of your preference. And on the 3rd of July, which is the first Friday of July,
Okay.
we're asking the community, let's collectively wear these shirts. Companies, if you're buying them for your staff, or if you're just buying them for family, friends, just wear them. Let's all wear them on the 3rd of July. Take pictures, post with hashtags, and let's upload them and show our support from the BVI to our brothers and sisters in America. And this would be our way to assist. And that's the movement.
Amazing. Amberly, thank you so much for being inspired and following through with this movement. Again, all persons wishing to partner and purchase can go ahead and do so, and understand that the proceeds, all proceeds, will be going to the Colin Kaepernick Foundation, which has been created to really help persons who are fighting these type of battles. And again, that date is July 3rd, where
Yes.
all persons within the community are going to wear these shirts in solidarity and support. So you know where your money is going, you know where it's benefiting. And again, it might not impact you directly today, but we do have a lot of our students across the United States going to school, family and
Yes.
friends, who are facing a myriad of challenges as it pertains to racism and protection, police brutality, and God forbid it were to be them, we would want to support. So we thank you so much. But I want to touch on a conversation before we close, Amberly. As you reflect on all that's taking place, what do you think we should be paying most attention to here in the Virgin Islands as it pertains to this global issue?
Well, in terms of what we should be paying attention to, I think we need to understand and look at the persons, the businesses who are standing with us for this cause, and we rally and we support those businesses, support those people, because as I said, Ron, whether we are in agreement with it or not, we are all affected by this. As the late MLK said, Jr. said, you know, a threat, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Absolutely.
So we need not turn a blind eye. And for those people who are standing up with us now, let us stand up in solidarity, show our support, go out, support their businesses, because they're the ones who come to our beck and call here. And lest we forget, we may be the majority here in the British Virgin Islands, but at a very rapid rate, things can change, things can turn. We always want to make sure that we're standing on the side of what is right, what is fair, what is equal for all.
Absolutely. You could not have said that better. Thank you so much again. Viewers, thank you for joining us for this very special report. I'm Ron Grant. You're watching 284 Media.
Yes. You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?